All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the most important battle you'll ever fight. And you know what? It's not out there in the world. Nope, it's happening right between your ears. Today, we're talking all about mastering your mind.
So let's just kick things off with this one. Powerful idea? It really frames everything we're about to cover. Your thoughts are either your weapon or your prison. Which will you choose? Seriously, think about that for a second. This isn't just some clever little quote. It's the fundamental choice, the one you have to make every single day.
Okay, so let's dig into that choice a little more. Your mind, right? Its current state, well, it's not fixed. It's not set in stone. It's not something you're just stuck with, period. The truth is, you have the power, right now, to decide if your thoughts are going to work for you, like a weapon to help you crush your goals, or if they're going to work against you, like a prison holding you back.
Now here's the really wild part. For so many of us, this mental prison, it isn't built out of steel bars and concrete walls. Nope. It's built from stuff that's way more common, way more normal. We're talking about everyday habits, those automatic negative thoughts that just pop up, and mental patterns we don't even realize are trapping us. We're living in it without even knowing it.
So, if we're going to stage a prison break, right? The very first step is to figure out what the bars are actually made of. We have to get specific. It's time to identify those habits, those thought patterns that are keeping us locked down. So let me just ask you this straight up. Do you ever feel like you're just running on autopilot? You know, just going through the motions? You wake up, you scroll on your phone, you work, you sleep, and then you just repeat, all without really thinking about it. Yeah? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, trust me, you are not alone. You know, there are actually a ton of common problems that get in the way of mental mastery. But look, for today, let's just zoom in on 3 of the absolute biggest culprits. First up, that living on autopilot thing we just talked about. That's when your mind is just reacting to stuff instead of actually creating anything. Then there's fear-based thinking. That's that little voice in your head that whispers, you're not good enough, and it just stops you dead in your tracks. And finally, number 3, addictive distractions. You know what I'm talking about, that constant hunt for the next dopamine hit from your phone that just completely destroys your focus.
Okay, so we've identified the VARs. That's a huge first step. But the real question is, how do we actually break them? Well, here's the good news. For every single one of those problems, there's a solution. It's time to shift gears and talk about the keys. The practical, powerful tools you can actually use to break free and start building some real mental muscle.
Okay, key number 1 is what we call the thought audit. And it is so simple. All you do is spend 5 minutes, just 5, every morning writing down whatever is rattling around in your head. That's it. This simple little act helps you shine a spotlight on all those irrational fears and negative patterns that are just running on a loop in the background. Because think about it, how can you control something if you don't even know it's there?
All right, this next one is a total game changer. It's called friction-based discipline. And the idea here is brilliant. Instead of trying to rely on sheer willpower, which, let's be honest, fails us all the time, you just change your environment. You make your bad habits harder to do, and you make your good habits super easy to do. Suddenly, being disciplined is actually the easiest option you have. It's awesome.
And that leads us right into the incredible power of just small, consistent effort. Look, forget about trying to change your entire life overnight. That's a recipe for failure. Instead, just aim to get 1% better every single day. That's it. Read 10 pages. Meditate for 2 minutes. You might feel like you're doing basically nothing in the moment, but that tiny 1%, oh man, it compounds. Day after day, it builds on itself, and over time, it leads to absolutely massive growth.
Here is an amazing little trick for dealing with those impulsive emotions that can hijack your day. It's called emotional naming. It's so easy. When a really strong feeling hits you, anger, anxiety, whatever, just name it. Literally say to yourself, okay, I am feeling frustrated right now. Just by labeling it, you create a little bit of distance between you and the emotion. And in that tiny space, that's where you get the power to choose how you respond, instead of just reacting.
So, we've got all these individual keys, which is great, but what if we could bundle them all together into one single master key? A daily mantra that literally programs your mind for strength and focus. Well, that's exactly what we're going to look at next. This is your personal code for building an unbreakable mind. And here it is, the code. It's just 5 simple lines, and I want you to repeat them to yourself every single day. Make this your personal mantra. Say it with me. Control your thoughts. Direct your emotions. Choose your identity. Shape your habits. And finally, master your mind. Look, this is way more than just a nice saying. These are commands.
This is you telling yourself who's in charge.
All right, we've talked about the prison. We've talked about the keys. We've even got the code. But listen, none of that matters, not one bit, if you don't take action. Real mastery doesn't start with knowing all this stuff. It starts with doing one small thing.
So I'm going to leave you with one last really crucial question. The journey out of that mental prison and into a life of mastery, it doesn't start tomorrow. It starts right now. It starts with your answer to this. Which habit will you start?